Hey, I want to say cheers, mate, to Mark Brown, who suggested that I review the Rolling Stones album Exile on Main Street. I will say I know of this album and I've heard it throughout my growing up years. And so when it comes to individual songs, I have particular opinions on each song. But we got to keep it honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each song and how I feel about it, and other details are going to be apparent when it comes to what I'm talking about. But I want to say I am glad that Mark wanted me to review this album, because there's things that I'm happy to talk about. Anyway, the first song from Exile on Main Street is called Rocks Off. I like the country-influenced sound to it, but there's something about this song that is apparent in some of the other songs also. It's decent, but I honestly think the last great Rolling Stones album was Let It Bleed, until they did Steel Wheels, which is also great, but I'm really a fan of the Brian Jones period. And if I want to hear really good Mick Taylor, I'll listen to John Mayall and the Blues Breakers' Crusade album. This song is decent, but a little dry sounding. And then Rip This Joint. What I said about Rocks Off, I can say about this too. They're doing a decent job, but it's not as good as the group who did It's Alright or Fortune Teller. And then Shake Your Hips. Now this is where the album starts to cook. I'm going to say something atypical. I like their version better than Slim Harpo's. If the album started with this song, I wouldn't have minded it at all. And then Casino Royale. This is the Mick Taylor stuff I like. This is an underrated song, and it would have been great as the second song on the album. The saxophone solo is awesome. And then Tumbling Dice. It's a classic Rolling Stones song that isn't one of my favorites. I like it in context with their anthology called Made in the Shade, but maybe it was a different mix on that album, because I like the song less on Exile on Main Street. I think Linda Ronstadt did a version of it I liked, but it's filler on here. And then Sweet Virginia. This is much better than Wild Horses. It's a fun country jam that is different than the rest of the album, but I like it. It could have been the third song on the album. And then Torn and Frayed. I like this song. It doesn't actually belong on this album, but it's maybe one of the best songs on it. Well, instead, I'll say it should be like one of the last songs on the album. It's somewhat misplaced, but the song itself is excellent. And then Sweet Black Angel. It's better than Rocks Off or Rip This Joint, but it's somewhat filler. I could see this working on James Taylor's album Mudslide Jim. And then Loving Cup. I like it better than Sweet Black Angel, but I think this would have been better on Goat's Head Soup. And it could have replaced the song Winter off of that album. But this song isn't one of my favorites. And then Happy. Sometimes I like this song, but ultimately it's filler. As a single, I could see it. But on the album, I would say it doesn't belong. And then Turd on the Run. Who couldn't like a song with this title? It's misplaced on the album. It should be number 8 on my proposed single album version. But it is a cool song. Ventilator Blues. I love it. It should have been the 4th song on the album. This is one Mick Taylor wrote. Really cool song. Well, he co-wrote it. And then I Just Want to See His Face. One of my favorites. Really, really great song. It could have been the 5th song on the album. So my version of side 1 is completed. This has feeling, and it's pretty perfect. And then Let It Loose. I like this. It would have been great as the last song on the album. It has a Sticky Fingers vibe to it, but much better. It's a really deep cut, but a good one. And then All Down the Line. Perfect song to start side 2. I like it a lot. It might even be the best song on the album. This is the Rolling Stones at the top of their game. 2 thumbs up. And then Stop Breaking Down. It's a totally different version than the Robert Johnson version, but I like it equally well for different reasons. This could be the 7th song on the album. Very good. And then Shine a Light. It's a great song, one of my favorites of this period of the Rolling Stones, but it's an odd tune on this album. It would have been better as a single, so it wouldn't be on my list of songs for a single album version of Exile on Main Street, but it would be on an added bonus single. And then Soul Survivor. This is the closest to Brian Jones era Rolling Stones on here. Ultimately, I think it would have worked better on Let It Bleed, but it does work in the sense of if it were a single on here. It's a very cool song. So if you want to know what my idea of a single album version of Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street album would be, okay. The first song would be Shake Your Hips, and then Casino Boogie, and then Sweet Virginia, and then Ventilator Blues, and then I Just Want to See His Face as the first side. For the second side, I would pick All Down the Line, Stop Breaking Down, Turd on the Run, Torn and Frayed, and Let It Loose. That would have been, to me, the best Rolling Stone album past Let It Bleed. But that's my opinion. I hope that you enjoy this review. And again, thank you, Mark, for suggesting I listen to this album. I do like a lot of the songs. I think that some of the songs that are considered to be the more well-known sometimes get to where they overshadow some of the better songs that aren't as well-known. But that's my opinion. Anyway, take care and bye-bye.